In our final installment of our interview with Chancellor Robert Duncan, we asked the questions that you wanted us to ask. We asked some of our fans on social media what kind of questions they would like to ask you, so we're going to go into some of those that they suggested. The most requested question was originally asked by Jonathan Silva. He would like to know where you stand on the Texas campus carry bill.
Well, that's a good question. I've actually had to deal with that. I was the chairman of State Affairs when it came through the committee the first time, and then they moved it to another committee when I didn't do what they wanted to the first time. But I think this is, you've got to look at this as a bigger picture. I believe that if a person is qualified to carry under Texas law, that they should be allowed to do so. Now, they already are in campuses. You can, it's not prohibited by state law of carrying a weapon if you're licensed on the campus. It's going into the buildings. And so that was the issue, and my concern when I voted against that bill in, I think, 2011, was that no one would negotiate with me on residence halls. And I felt like that the Board of Regents should have the ability to regulate in the residence halls, because guns stored improperly can be gotten into the wrong hands. So when they wouldn't put that in, I didn't, you know, I tried to get that amendment on, and I voted against it, both out of committee and when it got to the floor. It didn't have the votes to get to the floor. The next year, whenever Senator Wentworth then worked, that might have been 2011, when he worked with me to put that amendment on and get that in and promised me it would stay, then I voted for it. And the reason I did is because if you look at Texas Tech or any campus, we have a lot of students who are who walk on the campus at different hours, whatever time of the day, and it's you know, sometimes it's dangerous. And at universities that are in inner cities, where there are a lot of night classes, and students have to walk to and from their cars. Then it presents a dangerous situation, and it's hard for me to understand how we could deny somebody their right. The question is, what do you do in the building, and how do you make sure that you don't put faculty or other students at risk? And I think we have to continue to work on that issue, but it's a tough, controversial issue in higher education, and I know I would be interested in some of the consensus we get around campus. But I think that issue is going to be coming up again, and I think higher ed needs to be there to deal with it and be able to have meaningful input.
That's great. We've kind of touched on it already, but Daryl Gonzalez would like to know how Tech plans on achieving the goal of a Tier 1 research university.
Well, that's a good question. I think the way we do that is there's two things that we have to continue to do. And one is we have to continue to get support from the state in our different research programs that we've put together over the years. And that's the Research Development Fund, that's the National Research University Fund, the TRIP Fund, and the Competitive Knowledge Fund. Those research funds provide us with over $20 million a year for research fundamentals. So research is a key to that. More PhD candidates and growing our graduate school is another key to that. And we've really made great strides in the last year on that. And then just maintaining high standards for entering freshmen, and also for our graduate school admissions as well, and recruiting great faculty, and then improving our research. And federal research is one of the areas where we need to. The other thing, that's the internal kind of legislative Texas Tech thing, but in order to get there, especially on recruiting and retaining faculty and students, we got to have scholarships and we got to have endowments for our faculty. Definitely. So that's going to come from philanthropy, from those outside. So we have to be very aggressive in being able to build those endowments to create scholarships and to create faculty compensation opportunities. Then we need to partner for research, partner with private entities, and then also, again, I'll say it again, we've got to get more federal research. So we'll be working on those things, and I know our institutional presidents, that's their priority, And my job is to go out and help them raise the money to do what they need to do. And so that'll be a great priority for us as we go through the next few years.
In honor of Diversity Week here at Texas Tech, Jordan Sigler wanted to know how you will help to promote diversity on campus.
Well, I've always been very interested in that and very supportive of the different initiatives that we've had, especially in the legislature, where when you serve in the legislature for 20 years, you see how Texas has evolved in diversity and our diverse population. Texas Tech needs to be a Hispanic serving institution. We're getting closer. And that means we need to admit and have more students that are Hispanic to satisfy. I think it's 25% requirement. Angelo State has already gotten there, and we're going to. And I think Texas Tech University will get there very quickly. And then I think we just need to promote, that this is a university that welcomes everyone, and we treat everyone right. And I think we've done that here at Texas Tech University and in the schools in the system. And so I think we're a natural for students of all ethnicities who want to come and get an education. And so we're going to keep that attitude and that culture here, and we're going to expand it. I think that's what I would like to see us do.
Great. And finally, Chancellor Emeritus Kent Hansen's message to students was, "Dream no little dream." Grace and Daniel would like to know what your message to students is.
Well, I go back to the old marketing campaign that we have, "From here it's possible." And you just remember that. It's, if you look at my story, or you look at stories of people like Ed Whitaker or Jim Ferguson that we talked about earlier, who came from Hico, Texas, and drove up here in an old beat-up Skylark. You come here, and from here it's possible if you want it. And the key is you've got to want it, and you've got to be able to. You've got to do make the sacrifices. And I think a lot of the things we've talked about today are the ways you get there. But I believe "From here it's possible" is the best possible motto that I can push, because I think it tells my story. And I think it tells the story of just about every alum who's made it big, from Scott Pelley to Ed Whitaker to Kent Hance to Jim Ferguson to others that we've talked about. That's what we're all about here. So John Denver, most people don't even know John Denver.
That's a good one. Yes, lesser known one.
And he didn't get a degree here, but he was
here.
He was
That's
Kent
what
Hance's
counts.
pledge brother, I think.
How funny! That's what counts.
But those from here it is possible, and we can, and that's what we ought to believe every day.
That's great. Well, I think that wraps it up for us. Thank you again for sitting down with us today. Us and the student body appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you.